Good afternoon, everyone. We'd like to welcome you. We'd like to welcome you to the EdTech YouTube channel, where we will be covering some things on Schoology and getting you more acquainted with the software.
It is now 12:28, so we're going to wait a couple of minutes to let everyone start joining the live feed, and we'll get started properly. All right, so once again, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Third day of school for us, and we made it this far, and we can make it even farther. Today, we're going to talk about some Schoology things, and we're also going to talk about converting PDFs in assessments, and also using Google Slides to do that. Before I turn it over to Sydney, I'm going to cover two things that's kind of been like an ongoing issue with a lot of people. We had a lot of questions about these particular situations in Schoology. The first question or situation is connecting the Google Drive. A lot of people have been saying that they've had an issue when they're trying to go to the Google Drive in Schoology and actually pull documents and pull assignments. Right now, we're going to show you a way to make sure that you safeguard that and that you can bypass that, okay? So once again, this is going to be covering connecting our Google Drive to stop those issues that we're having with Google in Schoology. The first thing you want to do is click on Resources. Okay, so from the Resource tab, this is where we can share and add our resources. What you want to do is go down to Apps, and you will see the Google Drive Resource app already made for you. It's already been given access for you to have in Schoology. Now, mine already shows up without the error. However, if you are having an error, a red error that shows up right here saying that something's wrong, you need to click on Options. Then you need to click on Account Settings. And as you can see, it will say Google connected as my name or the Gmail Google account. And then it says sign into a different account. So what you want to make sure that you have done is connect this Google account to Schoology. So if you select Connect, it's going to prompt you to enter in your NPS Gmail account, which I'm going to do now. Stephen.walker@nps.k12.al.us. This will allow Schoology to see, edit, create, and delete all of your Google Drive files. So that's basically saying this is going to give you access to Schoology through Google. We're going to allow. And at this point, you should see your latest documents open up. Okay, So this should fix the error issues that you are having with Google Drive. For those you just joining, I'm gonna go through it one more time.
Hey, Stephen,
yes.
I wanted to add, also make sure that your students may have to do this as well. If they are going to be submitting assignments to you via Google Drive, they will also need to make this linking as well. So this may be something you want to show when you do a screen share inside of your meeting, your daily conference.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. You do want to make sure that your students do the same steps just to safeguard that Google error they may get. Okay, so I'm gonna go through it one more time. What I did to get here, and this is connecting to Google Drive Schoology to make sure you don't have any Google issues. Your students may have to do this as well. We're gonna click on resources, and we're gonna click on our apps. On this part of the screen, you will see Google Drive Resource app, okay? This is the Google Drive app that's already been enabled for you from us. And what you're gonna do is click on options. Now, sometimes on this screen, you may get an error. In order to fix that error, just click on options, account settings. Then it's gonna ask you to connect as your NPS account. So what you're gonna do is make sure you select school account, okay? And at this point, you will select connect. And now you should see your documentation from Google start popping up from your drive, okay? Now remember, the students may need to do this as well so they can avoid the error also. So I just went over connecting the Google Drive to Schoology to make sure you don't get that error or to alleviate any errors from using Google in Schoology. The next topic I wanted to discuss was the YouTube videos or doing external videos. Some of you have been having issues when you put the link in for the video and the students claim that they cannot access the video. Here's how you fix that situation. I'm going to go to courses. I'm going to select the actual course. Then I'm going to place this in for my students as an activity. And let's go through it now as an example. Remember, this is how you fix that issue of the videos not playing in the browser. What I'm going to do is click Add Materials. And I want to add a file or link. In most cases, it will be a link because you can just take the YouTube video link from this and place it in your Schoology portal for your students to watch. So let's click on link. So right here, you will basically copy and paste the code from the YouTube video right here. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give you an example of how to do that. Once you find your YouTube video, you can simply click on share and it will give you the link right here. You can either right click or you can hit copy. So let's copy that. Now I'm going to come back to Schoology and I'm going to paste that link in from the YouTube video so the students can see that video. And I'm going to title this video. The most important part of this process to make sure that you don't have an issue with your students viewing the video is to click this button right here. As you can see, it says display in Schoology right now. You don't want it to display in Schoology because sometimes they may use the wrong browser or a plugin may not be working properly. So if I were to click on this button that says display in Schoology, you see that it changes to display in new window. So what this allows to happen is the video to pop up in a completely new window or another tab on that student screen. So once again, I put the URL in from the YouTube video. Then I put in the title of the YouTube video that I want students to watch. And then I selected display in new window from this button right here. Now also, fun fact, keep in mind that if you click on this button, you can copy this to all of your courses so you don't have to copy this 7 different times or 8 different times. I can click on copy the courses and I can select the courses that I want to copy this to. The most important step about this process is to remember that you need to click display in new window in order to get the video to work properly. That should alleviate the issue of the videos not showing up in Schoology when your students try to access them. Let me review that one more time. The current topic we're talking about are the external videos. Some teachers are having problems with actually getting their videos to play for their students. So in order to alleviate that, for example, if I click on Add Materials, and then I click on Link, The link function will allow me to upload a YouTube video from using a link. If I click on link, here's the actual activity box. I can come to that YouTube video. I can click on share. I can click copy, or I can Control C to copy it. And then I can bring this back to my Schoology. So the next step is to right click and paste, or Control V. At this point, you can see the YouTube link is now embedded into this assignment. Then I want to type in the title. I typed in test video for students just to be an example of the title. And once again, you want to click on this button. Right now it says display in Schoology. Once you click on this button, it's going to say display in new window. That's the option that you want to have selected so your students won't have any issues pulling up the videos that you are applying in Schoology. And then I can simply click add, or if I need to, I can copy this to other courses so I don't have to copy it every single time. So if I click add, you will see that the video or the link is popping up on your actual page. Test video for students. And of course, you can schedule this out. You can instruct your students to look at this video at a certain time. That's completely up to you. But what I just went over was connecting to our Google Drive to alleviate issues. And I also went over doing those videos to make them externally viewable by students so you won't have that issue again in Schoology. Okay? So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Sydney.
Okay, some things I saw, some questions over on the side. We're going to try to address all the questions that we have. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And now you see my sandbox course over here on the side. Now, I did see a question where many people said in their Zoom or in their conference, the students were not able to hear their YouTube videos. If that is the case for you, you need to make sure to share your system sound within your video. So on mine, like today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show some videos from my screen. Well, I'm using a Zoom video and I can't show you that, but on the actual toolbar that you have in Zoom, if you go to the 3 dots for more and you go down to share computer sound, it's share computer sound is what it says, then the students will be able to hear those videos that you are sharing in your conference or your meeting. So that is how you do it in Zoom, is you must go to more and then share computer sound. Okay?
Sydney, we also had a question that says, is there a way to record what we are writing on the screen when recording? We have tried Loom and Zoom.
I am not sure with that. We will work on that and see if we can get you a way to record that. But normally if you're recording your Zoom and you're sharing your screen share is available in the recording. One other thing I wanted to talk about, because I see that some people were having trouble with the digital citizenship course and pulling over those materials. To do that, you have to add those things to your drive first. So you will navigate to resources at the top. Once you have navigated to resources, you will go to group. Once you are in group resources, you will navigate to Montgomery Public Schools, which I have every school, so that's why it's a lot on there, but you will just go to Montgomery Public Schools and you'll see the digital citizenship curriculum folder. You'll open that folder for whichever grade level you need. And here are the 2nd grade lessons. I can open up lesson 1. And these are all PDFs, so they will not be able to be used. But as far as any of the Google Docs, like this is a Google slideshow, I'll be able to open that. And I need to make sure that when I open that, I add it to my drive so I can attach it and my students can see. So mine is already saved to my drive since I did that, but you should see a button here where you can add, it's the Google Drive symbol with a plus sign, where you can add it to your drive. And you can even go down and organize it where you want it to be within your drive. The same thing goes with the Google Forms that are included. Let me move this toolbar out of the way. This is also a Google Doc worksheet. So you need to make sure to add it to your drive first before assigning it to your students. All these are already in my drive because they came from my drive. So I will add it to my drive. And mine just says add shortcut, but you will actually add it to your drive from that spot. Then you'll be able to go into your Schoology course, go back to your courses. Let me navigate to my Sandbox course. In my week 1 folder, I'm going to add this to Friday. Say it's my Friday lesson. I'm going to go to Add Materials. I'm going to import from Resources. Select Apps. And then there's the Google Drive Resource app. And here it is. I can import it there. Now that is actually not the one that I need to actually import this way. I actually wanted to do that with a slideshow. It's not here at the top. So let me look up grade 2. This is what I want them all to be able to view. And that's what it will look like for them. So I can select this and I can import as a link. And now when it adds to my class, here is the slideshow that they can click and view. Now, also, if I wanted to add the materials that were the assignments, I can go to Add Assignment. And I can name it grade 2, just because this is a practice session. And I can go to Google Drive Assignments. And I probably messed up because I did not make a copy of that when I did that, Stephen. So that's why it's grayed out. But also here, you can go to account settings again and make sure that I'm logged in with the correct account. And then they will be able to add that assignment there, attach it, and then it will make a copy for each student. You also have to make sure you select a category. And I have a toolbar in the way, so I can't see the next button. Pull that and create. So that is how you can attach those digital citizenship lessons. Now, our next item we're going to cover are Schoology assessments. These are the things that you will go to Add Materials and Add Assessment, and we're going to go over that now.
Feature. It's a wonderful.
And you see, I did the same thing that we were having issues with. I had to make sure to share computer sound and also make sure it wasn't muted in YouTube.
And welcome to this tutorial about Schoology. We are going to work on the new assessment feature. It's a wonderful new feature that is available for every teacher now. Let's get started. Click Add Assessment. Name your quiz. And if you look at the due date, leave it empty. Submission, I will keep it enabled for now, but you keep it disabled because you don't want students to take it right now. And a password, if you want to assign a password to it, I don't need it. And make it numeric so students can see their marks in number and not a grade. So let's go to setup. In setup, put the instructions. These instructions will be seen by students before they start the test. You can just simply choose the type of heading, add an image from your local files. I've already got one here. Okay, it's there. Resize your image according to your desire by simply dragging from one of the corners. Okay, keep doing that. Keep doing that until it is according to your desire. You can just align center everything. Okay, yes, my assessment has a time limit, 60 minutes. I don't want questions to be randomly ordered. Students can see possible points for each question. Flagging a question means students can flag them for a review later on. I don't need any calculator or a protractor. You can choose if you want. Highlighting text, yes, I want my students to be able to highlight, and notepad is very important. They can take notes during the quiz. I would not allow them to see the results because it's a quiz. Click Save. Okay, let's go to questions. We're going to add text first. Text could be used to give a heading for any section. Maybe your quiz has different sections such as grammar, vocab, literature. So you can always use text to give headings to a section. Go ahead and type out whatever you find important for your section. Let's go ahead and add first question, our multiple choice question. So I've got some questions ready in Microsoft Word and I can copy them from Microsoft Word. Simply copy the questions and go back to Schoology, Control V to paste it. These are my options. I can simply drag and drop them just like that. Okay, last one. You can even type out your questions and the choices if you want, but if you already have them in Microsoft Word, you can always do that. Remove the choices you don't need. If you need more, you can always click Add the plus option. And the layout, block layout is very nice, so I am going to choose the block layout. Now choose the answer as well by selecting the correct answer. Number of columns, it depends if you wanted the choices to be in 3 columns or 1 column, it's up to you. So it looks pretty good. Preview, this is how it looks like, and as you select the correct answer, you can see that the correct answer is chosen in 100% marks. So yeah, multiple choices done. Let's go ahead and add a true-false question. All right, you can simply type out your question or copy it from any other resource. I've got it here. I'm going to just simply copy one. Well, the link, I'm going to remove it. I don't need the link. So copy it and let's paste it into Schoology Assessment and remove anything not needed. I'm going to remove these 2 lines over here. Okay, so my question, this is the answer, so I don't need it over here. It was only for reminder purposes, so I'm going to choose because the answer is true. So here in the correct answer setup, select the correct answer. Click Save. Pretty good, so it's done. And you can even add media to a question. So let's see how it could be done. Okay, this is YouTube. Click Share, copy the link. Okay, so now I've got the link and let's go ahead and just go to the text field, click on that media button, click on video because you're going to attach a video. click Option, and paste the link that you've already copied. So it's visible, so the link is working. Click OK. So the video player has been added. Let's preview. Looks really nice. So students can actually watch a video clip and then answer the questions. Click Save. We're done with this question. Let's add an audio file from my local files, from local files on my PC. Click on the media button again. Click Audio Player. Click Add. And click on the plus icon and browse for the audio file. My audio file is in a folder called Schoology, and I can simply upload it here. Takes a bit of time to upload depending on the size of your audio file. Click OK, and just tweak the design a little bit if you want. In minimal, students will not be able to seek the audio file. They will not be able to fast forward or rewind the audio file. If you don't want students to do that, then choose minimal. Click OK, and that's it. It's been added. Click Preview to see if it's working. Yes, it's pretty good. So they can listen to an audio track and then answer the questions. Click Save. We're done with attaching audio files. Let's create matching question. So again, you can simply type out your questions here, the prompts and the possible answers. I've got it in my Microsoft Word already, so let's just copy it, paste it here, and you can drag and drop again. Speaker 3, okay, and I've got the choices, the possible answers. All right, let's just go ahead and drop it here. Okay, C goes in the third one. Just remove the blank spaces here by using the backspace. Remove the unwanted one. You can add an extra option just to make it a bit more challenging. You can add as many as you want. So D is the extra one. Let's go ahead and show my assessment that these are my answers. Okay, and D, as you know, will not be used. Make sure that you click partial match. That means if students can just choose one or two correct, they can be awarded for those two correct answers. Okay, see, that's how it works. And click Edit Question if you want, or click Save if you're done. Change the points because there are 3 matching items, so make it 3. So if a student is done with 1, they can get 1 mark, 2 or 2 marks. So this is going to be very important. So partial match, make sure that you select the radio button partial match. That means if a student chooses 1 matching correctly, he gets 1 point. Let's go ahead and add an ordering question. Ordering means there will be different items in the list and they have to put it in correct order according to a specific requirement. So I've got this from a play written by William Shakespeare, Macbeth. These are the events, and students are supposed to order it in the order in which they happen in the play. You can add more options. I'm simply going to drag and drop them. Maybe I can even cut and paste. Control X to cut. And Control V to paste. All right, so go ahead And here, show the correct ordering. Okay, you can just simply drag and drop it wherever you want. Okay, most of them are in correct order, but if you want to move them somewhere else, you can always drag and drop them. Okay, let's just go ahead and simply drag and drop them. So Macbeth and Banquo return victorious from the battle, yes, and then prediction about being Thane of Cawdor, then being the King of Scotland. So it's correct. Remember again, the button layout is the best one, and make sure that partial match is selected. So now you can see that students can simply drag and drop them. Click Save when you're done. Excellent. Let's go ahead and add fill in the blank question. Now this is going to be very easy. Select the question you have. I already have one over here. Now, if you look at it, the dotted lines will not be recognized by the assessment. In order to make it a blank, you simply go to the R button, which is a response button. You create a response, a blank space. Or you can always, use Shift underscore. Click Shift, keep it pressed, and click underscore to do the same. Okay, I've got two answers, two possible answers. So if somebody wrote 250 in numeric form, that is also correct. And if somebody wrote 250 in word form, that's also correct. Case sensitive could also be used if somebody is writing a proper noun and you want them to use proper capitalization, you can just select case sensitive. And as you can see, when you type out 250, it's correct, and 250 is also correct. So two possible answers. You can add more if you want. Click Save and you're done. Let's go ahead and click short answer question. So now we're going to work on a short answer. Remember, you're going to grade it manually because the system will not grade it because you do not add any answer to it. You can add a rubric if you want. Okay, here's my question, and look at this. I don't want students to write more than 3 words. I can always limit the number of words for the answer. You can always highlight it so it stands out for the students and they know how many words they're supposed to write. So let's go ahead and see if we can limit the number of words for students. Simply write the number of the words, and always visible. Students can see how many words they're supposed to write. Okay, text formatting options for students. You can enable whatever options you want students to use. Let's go ahead and see if I write more than 3 words, what would happen here? So the answer is her son's graduation party. You see, I wrote 4 words and it will not allow me to submit. It wants me to make it 3 words. Click Edit Question. Let's add a rubric. Rubric is like a marking scheme or answer key. Click New. I'm going to create an answer key for this question only. Add a title, whatever you want. Okay, there's only 1 point for this question, so I'm going to remove the others. Okay, you can add more if you want. Just click on the plus sign. Okay, make this one 0, and let's write the correct answer here. The rubric is very easy to create, and it's very helpful when you're grading this question. Again, you'll be grading this question manually, but the rubric will come up. Make sure that you keep it unchecked. You don't want students to see the rubric because that's the answer key. Enable the formatting options for students. If you want them to use auto numbering, you can enable it just like this. You can see the students will see it like this, and they can use bold, italic, or numbering. Save, and that's it. we're done with short answer. You can always print your assessment, click on print assessment, make sure that when you print the assessment, you do not make any further changes to the quiz. If you want the answer key, you can just check that box, use 5 blanks for a short answer, go ahead and click print. It's loading. Okay, looks pretty good, and you can always print it out. Looks pretty neat. So that's it. Close it and click edit. You can always come back to edit and change the maximum points if you want. Make it out of 20 or 100, whatever you want. Okay, now you can see the message that it has already been printed. So if you make any changes right now, it will be quite a different one than the one you printed earlier. So if you make changes, make sure you print it again. Okay, let's add an essay question. I want students to write an essay, and the maximum words they're going to use is 120. Simply copy it, and you can see it's so easy, copying from Word. And I would like to, let's say, go ahead. No, I'm supposed to add an image, so click on image. You can always add an image from your local files. This is the article. So I saved the article as an image file. So it looks pretty good. Okay, students are not supposed to write more than 120, so I'm going to change the word limit to 120. Placeholder text, you can leave instructions for the students. Let's say I'm going to write down, do not write more than 120 words. So 120 is max. They can write 190 or even one word, but they cannot exceed 120. Preview, that's how it looks like. So the article looks really nice, and this is where students can type, and you can see that they can see instructions. And the word limit is also visible. Okay, click Save. You want to preview your quiz, how it looks like for students. That's how it looks like. As you can see, the instructions as well. Okay, it's going to take a little time. Okay, this is section 1. You can always see the questions. And go full screen for a better view. Flagging question means that students can come back to it and give it another look. For reviewing purposes, flagging is very important. Okay, the text looks really nice. Notepad is really important. Students can use Notepad during the quiz and take notes whenever they want. And remember, these notes are actually saved automatically. So even if they close the Notepad and open it again, the text is always there that they've written. So let's say they took notes during reading. Now they can copy the text and paste it in the answer space. Pretty nice, right? So this new assessment is wonderful for students. Let's go ahead and see some of the other features. Students can always change the background, size of the font. Looks really nice in purple. And they can always change it to white, and font size if they want a larger font, you can choose. That's all for now. Make sure you practice as much as possible.
Hello, Google Campers. Today, we are going to be talking a lot about integrating a lot of the functionalities of Google Classroom directly into our Schoology profiles, which is something that's very exciting, and it's going to be eliminating a.
Okay, so I'm going to move on. We did show that because there are so many options with Schoology Assessment, and I will say that the tools look very similar to those available in the ACAP. So that may be something that you want to look at as far as using the assessments. And then I'm going to show you another idea, because yesterday, this was one of the big things that came up. We already have worksheets. So if we have worksheets in hand, whether they're from our textbook or not, I'm going to show you how to quickly and pretty easily turn those worksheets into a Schoology assessment.
Hey everybody, I am here today to show you a little hack that you can do in Schoology to actually move worksheets into a digital form and have them graded. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to open up a Wonders worksheet that you can find just from the main page of your weekly stuff, and I'm going to take a screenshot of that. On a Mac, it is Control or Command Shift 4, and on a PC, you're going to have to use the snippet tool. So I just take a little screenshot of that, and then I come over here to Schoology, and from my course, I'm going to go to Add Materials, Add Assessment. I will name my assessment. You could go ahead and give it a due date. You can give it a number of points. I make it the number of points that the grammar worksheet was. You might go ahead and enable your submissions. Drop it into a category, and then press create, and that's going to open up your assessment page. Now, there's all sorts of instructions that you can have, but I'm just going to flip over here to questions, and this is where I'm going to start my question type. And the question type that you're going to use for this hack is called label image. So I'm going to choose label image, and then I'm going to set up my question by giving some directions. Upload your image, so you'll navigate to wherever that happened to have saved. Okay, and it pops that worksheet in here. And then what you do is you add responses. So this is going to be a better, best, adjective activity, and there are 10. So I need to add 10 boxes. So what you'll do is you'll drag those boxes right over where the answer would go if they were handwriting it, and sort of put it in the middle so it doesn't block any of the words. And then you write your possible responses. So for this, it says that the possible responses are better or best. So at the bottom, I just put in my first response, and then I add a second. Okay, and I just have to do 2 for this. And I'll show you why in just a second. So now I'm going to set up my correct answers. And here, if I press duplicate responses, it's going to automatically duplicate all of those. And this is where I'm going to drop in the correct answers on my worksheet. And you can see that it just duplicated better down here and slid that right in. Okay, so once you have your answers all set up, you're going to come down here, and now you're going to choose scoring type. Now, to get it to add up to the number of points that this should be worth, so if there are 10 here and it's going to be worth 10 points, instead of having an exact match, match means that this whole thing is going to be worth 1 point, but I want it worth 10, I'm going to choose partial match. And so for each one that it gets right, it's going to add a point for the total of 10. And the nice thing about this is that I can also align my learning objectives. So I can just go here to learning objectives, find Common Core. This one's language arts. This was a 4th grade worksheet. So I'm going to go to my literacy language standards. This was a convention, and it would have been a grammar. And so I just find the adjectives, line that, confirm, and I should be set up and ready to go. You can explore some of these additional setup options, like if your words aren't fitting in or if you have to do word wrap, that kind of thing. But mostly that's it. And then I just press save. And that question is set up and ready to go. This is going to be worth 10 points. And if I need to preview, I can start my new attempt here, and this is what it would look like for students, and they would just drag that option in there and review it at the end. So that's how you can hack your worksheets, put them in Schoology, align them to standards, and have it graded for you, which is amazing. So give it a try. Let me know if you need help.
So that video made it a whole lot easier for us to take our worksheets and add them over into Schoology Assessments. Now, I have talked about in the past creating those worksheets and converting them to Google Slides. Now, this is another option you can do if you're googly and you like to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on over and let you watch this on how to convert a worksheet to a Google Slide. Then you can also post it as a Google Drive assignment in your classroom.
Your worksheet that maybe you would print out, and how to digitize it so students can just type in the answer. And we're going to be using Google Slides. And at the end of I'll show you how to hand this out to them inside Google Classroom. So it will look like this. So I'll just go ahead and click on a spot, and then they can write their answer right in. And it's quite easy to make, and you're using Google Classroom. Is easy to hand them all out. Let's get started doing this today on Teachers Tech. All right, so before I start, I just want to say I did purchase this package here. I'm not going to be altering it at all. I'm going to keep the creator's name on it at the beginning. I'm not retyping this out, and I wouldn't recommend retyping any of this out because there's a lot faster ways to do this. But the main thing is I am going to be turning this into an image. So the main thing is even if you didn't have the digital copy, if you created something on paper, you could take a picture of that and bring it in the same way that I'm going to do. Now, first of all, I have this open in Adobe Acrobat DC, and you might have this on your computer or not, depending what you've already have installed. I could just go in, I'm just going to mention this. If you go up to File, you can see there's Export, and you can export all your PDF pages as images here. So I could go through and export them, and all my pages in here would turn into images. But some of you might not have this, so I'm going to show you a different way on this. So what I'm going to be using, and I'm just going to go back to the right page that I have on, I'm going to do the onomatopoeias here, and I'm going to zoom up because what I want to capture is make sure I capture the whole page. I'm going to go, so I'm on a Windows computer right here. I'm going to go to Snippet, the snipping tool, and I just typed it in, and it should be on your Windows free there. Mac will have its capture tool also on it, Command-Shift-4. If you hit all those together, that will come up and you can do kind of the same thing. I'm going to go New right here. And now it allows me to take my crosshairs up here, and I'm going to just draw over here right to the very bottom to keep it in the same proportions here. Right about there. All right, that's close enough. So you can see what I captured there. This is the image. It took a picture of that. So what I'm going to do now is I need to save this. And so if I just go up to File here, and then I want to go to Save As. Where do I want to save it? And I already saved it once here before because I was doing a test on everything. And I'll just put this as 2, English Language Arts 2, and I'm good with that. All right, so that's the first step. I have a picture. Like I said, you could have an image from your phone. You could be exporting it right from PDF. But now I'm going to go over to Google and open up Google Slides. Okay, so I'm just in my Google Drive right now. I'm already logged in. I'm going to go and open up Google Slides. So I'm just going to go up to my app launcher here, and Slides is right here. And when this opens, I'm going to start a blank presentation right here. At this point, I need to change the size of the page because this is for presentations for computer, and I don't want that. I want the size of a piece of paper, an 8.5 by 11. So what I can do is if I go up to File here, click on File, and then look down here, and it says Page Setup. I'm going to click on Page Setup. And this is the default, the 16:9, the aspect ratio that we see right now. I'm going to click on this one and go to Custom. Now we go 8.5 by 11 for our sheet of paper. So the nice thing is if you're doing other things in Google Slides, remember, you can do a lot of custom, you create whatever you want to do, apply this over and over again. So I'm just going to hit apply. You can see how everything changed. I'm just going to close this side window down to get this centered. Now we have some text boxes on here already, but I'm just going to go ahead and delete these. You just click on them, click on the edge. So if I click on the blue line there and then hit just delete on my computer, then it can go away, or you can right click and cut too. Now I have this blank page. So this is where I bring in the image. I don't want to bring it in. A lot of people would think just insert image like that. Well, you don't want to do that because it's going to move around, and if you give it to the students, they'll grab it and it'll move around and it'll be a pain, or they hit delete on it and it's gone. What we want to do is, you can see there's the background right here. I'm going to just click on the background, and where we could change color and everything like this. Well, I want to put an image, so I'm going to go ahead and choose image. I need to browse. I'm under upload right here. If you had it in your Google Drive, you could go connect to your Google Drive right here, but I am under upload. I'm going to hit browse. And these are the two, as you can see, ELA2 is what I'm uploading. Remember, if you took that picture, I had a different video where I talked about scanning on your iPhone using notes. You could scan that in and upload it and do the same thing. I'll put a link to that video too if you're interested. But I'm going to go ahead and hit open on this one. So it's uploaded now. I'm going to hit done. And you can see how I captured it in that proportion of the same size of page. Now it's taking up the whole page. And I can't grab this, right? I can't move this around or anything. It's there. It's the background on it. So now all we need to do now is add text boxes to it. And how we do that is, you can see there's a text box tool here. And now I could have a number of different pages, so maybe there's multiple pages I could put into one document and do the same thing through it. And the nice thing is, in Google Classroom, we'll make copies for everything. I'm going to hit the text box, and at this point, actually, I'm going to zoom up a little bit here just so we can see what we're doing a little bit more. So I'm going to go back to my text box again, and I'm just going to put a text box like this. So you could go through and draw out all the text boxes. The one thing is, when you click off of it, you can't see it. So the students, if you have older students, or if they're very familiar with Google Slides, you could just put this in and give it to them, and they could put their own text boxes on. But you can see, you can't see it. If they click in it, then it's there. You could always write, I'll just put click here, and then you can see, if I move it up a little bit, they'll know where to click. So I could go through and click. So maybe to even speed that up more, and you don't have to type click here. I know that's not a big deal, but if I click again on the blue, make sure it's selected. I'm just going to go Control C for copy, and I'm going to click off and go Control V. And now I can just go through and start moving these down very quickly and lining them up the way I want, like this. So I'll just do a few more so you guys get the idea of this. And remember, if you have bigger spaces, so if I go down here and bring this one, oops, I missed that one, bring it right down here, you can change the size of these too. So you need a longer text box, and then you could go back to go Control C and Control V again, and you have a larger text box. And if the worksheet is different, you can make these larger so that they have more room to write in, or the students could even change the size of their font. So if they go in here, if they're writing more and they're running out of room, the font is right up here. So if they wanted to maybe write it smaller so they could get more, they could change that. Now, depending on the age group, and what you've taught them throughout the year and what they know, that could be a thing. Make it as easy as possible. Just put everything there and they just click in it. So just some different options. And the nice thing is, these pages, again, if we go Control C, Control V on anything, it can copy. So Control C, Control V, I can make multiple pages of this. All right, so you can go through and set it up here like this, and you get these fillable PDFs using Google Slides. Okay, one last step. Let's go over to Google Classroom and see how that we would hand that out to our students. I just wanted to make one last note before I leave here, and I mentioned about changing the size of the font. And
so I'm going to exit that video because the next part he was showing was actually how to put it in a Google Classroom. So I can go ahead and show you how that we actually would do that into.
Remember, they can change colors. So whatever.
Sorry about that. to show you how to put that inside of your your Schoology classroom. Sorry, we had Google on the brain there for a minute with Google Slides. And if the video had a little bit of lag, I'm sorry. I had several tabs open on my screen and it was starting to slow it down. So I closed everything out. So to add that as an assignment, it's like we showed before. Once we get that worksheet done, we would go to add assignment and make sure to add from Google Drive assignments. And that is really how you would add that into Schoology. Now, someone said, how do I get my materials so I can put them in other classes? Instead of copying to other courses, some of the Google things weren't copying over. So what I would do is save those items to your resources. So what I will do, you can do individual items or you can do whole folders. So I'm going to save to resources and I'm going to save it to my home. So now it'll be in my resources. So if I were to go into another one of my classes, which, let me see which class I can add it to. I'll just add it in another folder in this class because I don't want to mess up any of y'all's other classes. So I'm going to go to this folder and I want to add materials. I'm going to import from resources, very similar to how we do from Schools PLP. And I can import anything that I added right there to my home. So if I need to, I can select whatever it is I want to add that I saved to my resources, and I can hit import and select yes. And now that item will be here in my next class. So that was one of the questions I saw come across on the side. Some people were asking about the snipping tool. The reason I show the videos on that is because it actually opens a new window that won't show in our meeting. But the snipping tool can be found by navigating to your start menu on your computer. And you can't even see this and I'm showing it. So, and then just searching for snip. If you start typing in snip, it'll come up, it'll let you take a screenshot on your computer and that will follow that. So, I had somebody, I'm reading some of the comments. Somebody followed the steps. They converted a Google slide from PDF. My students could see and edit the worksheet, but when they submitted, their sheets were blank. Make sure that they are attaching that document that they worked on. So they should have a copy and be able to submit it. So their answers weren't there. That may be a specific instance we need to look at. Stephen, what else did we need to cover?
There was a question. They wanted to know how can the general education teachers add a special education teacher to their course?
Okay, great question. This is something we will cover. Especially if this is something also, if you know you're going to be out for an extended period of time and you want another teacher to also have access to your course to help guide your course along. You will navigate to members. And on this course, I want to add Stephen. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to go to add members. Once I selected members and I go to add members, make sure that you're searching at your school. There is a drop down menu here, and then I will type in the name of the person I want to add. So I want to add Stephen and I'm going to hit search and there's Stephen Walker. So I'm going to add him. Then I'm going to select add members. Well, now he has been added as a member of my class, but I need to go one step further. I need to select make admin. And then that is an admin. He is an admin on my course and can post things just like I can.
Sydney, there was another question that was asked several times. The teacher said, I've used the assessment feature before, and when students toggle off the screen to use a calculator, they get locked out. Is that still the same?
I have not experienced that issue. Y'all had assessment set up in all those courses where y'all were doing the self-paced course. And I do not believe we had any issues with that with the assessment I created. Unless you have it some kind of setting turned on where it's not allowing them to navigate to other screens, that may be an issue. I have not experienced it myself with a calculator, but all the assessments I had set up for those self-paced courses, I did not experience that. And I did see somebody say that it lags a little bit and it's a little slow. There are some features that are clunky, I will say that, but they work pretty well, the assessments do, as far as grading. Now, I know some people really like their Google Forms. With Google Forms, we have to know how to embed those so they're fillable in Schoology. It's a little bit different with forms. You don't have to share it. You don't have to do it necessarily as an assignment, but you can embed a Google form as an assignment. So I'm going to show you how to embed them.
If you want to embed a Google form into a Schoology page instead of simply linking out to it, you can do that pretty easily. Go to your Google form and click on the Send button. And there is an Embed Code tab over here. You simply just highlight that. You can choose to set this to 800. I like 800 by 640. And then once you set that, highlight the code and copy it. So it's been copied to the clipboard. So come back over to Schoology and you can put this into its own page and call it Google Form just for now. And there are two different ways to do it. One way to do it is to go to the Insert Content, and we're going to insert media. And our media is obtained from the web, and the type is media. So now you see it has embed here, so I can just paste the code. You see the yellow box, and then I just click on Create. So here's my Google form, and the students can take the form just like they would if they were linking out to Google normally. So another way to do it is to add it directly to the HTML page. So I'll click on Add Page. Over on the far right is the Switch to HTML button. So I'll click that, and that allows me just to paste the code and hit Create. Oops, didn't put a title. So I'll paste HTML code just so you know the difference. And we click on the Create button. And same thing, it's just a little bit faster if you're comfortable pasting HTML code like that. Either way, it gets you to what you want. It still acts like a Google form. It'll still send all the data to the Google spreadsheet in your Google Drive, and you'll be able to access it that way. But it keeps it nice and neat within the Schoology LMS.
Okay, so that is how you embed those forms. So I can kind of show you here again. If I go to my courses, and I'm going to go to my sandbox course. And Schoology is being a little slow with everything running on my computer, so I'm sorry. So I'm going to go here. And you can even embed it as an assignment. So somebody was actually asking in the side, how do I check an assignment, and how do I know when my students have turned in work? So I can add it as an assignment as well. And you also have the portion where you can switch to HTML and put that Google form directly here and set a due date for it. So what I'll do is I'll go over and grab that from a form. So here is one of the actual forms that I created for the digital citizenship. And when I go to send on that form, the last option is the embed option. So I can copy that, highlight it and copy. Then I can come back over to Schoology. And now that I selected those 3 dots, I can Control V, paste that in, and I'm going to name it Google Form. I did not have to use my Drive Assignments app. I did not have to do any of that. I do have to make sure that I set a category. And I will hit Create. So here's the Google Form assignment, and when I select to open it, it is embedded directly within here, and students can click Incomplete and submit. Now, someone was asking, what does it look like when students, and how should I see their work? So I'm going to go over to a course, actually one of your courses that y'all had completed, and I'm going to select Baldwin. It's the first one listed here for me. And I'm going to go to Unit 2, just because I know that there's an actual assignment here. I think maybe it's 3. I did this yesterday and it was just fun in practicing. Let me go to Unit 1. So I have some things embedded here. I was actually looking for one of my assignments that I had created. You'll know it's an assignment because it has a pin on it. Let me make sure. There's one. Here's the performance test. It has a pin on it. So when I navigate to that assignment, I can see that all of these students on the side have submitted, and I need to grade it. Because all that was is they had to attach a file. So I could select a student. I know Miss Perry won't mind, so I'll go ahead and select hers. And I can actually see what the student actually attached. And all the assignment was to post your name so they could get used to doing the assignment. Somebody was also asking about the share screen in Schoology. It does not work like on Zoom. It is a little different, and I would show you the conferences, but I will have to, it will not let me do a conference while I'm on a Zoom because of my, it's a little bit messed up. It won't show, I can't use my camera for 2 apps at the same time on my computer. But I can't actually show how that looks. I can share a video, but I'm not able to show that in this training. All right.
Someone asked, well, will this create a copy for each student doing the embedding code, or the way that you embed it instead of doing it the regular way?
When you embed a form, you don't have to make a copy for each student. A form is a form, and all their answers feed to a spreadsheet. So there's no need to make a copy for each student when you embed from Google Forms. All right, any other questions? I see that some people were saying Alex. Alex has been down on some of, they're working on getting some updated resources on Alex to match the new standards. So that's what I've heard. I also have seen some things where people said some of the school's PLP videos weren't working. With those come from the state, so we're kind of at the mercy of the state, and we have we pull over the materials that are available for us as they're updated, and if they don't work, all we can do is submit a ticket and hope they can get that worked out for us. I do know that some of the science material was not working for 7th grade.
And another thing about that as well, we covered it earlier, talking about being able to do the videos where you can do the pop-up window. I think that might help with that situation as well, if the videos are not playing when the students open them up.
And we have considered doing a training for students. We did record the basic video, but with Schoology and each individual class being so unique, every school and every teacher does things differently in their class. So for us to do a blanket, whether you use Zoom or conferences or how you post your assignments will vary drastically between school to school. So we have not done that. We have posted a video showing them how to log in. So that is one of those things. We have done how to log in and how to navigate to your courses, but we have not been able to post a widespread video for students. Anybody want to volunteer as far as teachers who have students in their class who would want to do something like that, feel free, and we will help out any way we can.
Yes.
And I see that somebody said one of the citizenship videos had profanity in it. I think it was probably talking about profanity, the one that had profanity in it. So that may have been something that was covered. We pulled all those information for those digital citizenship directly from Common Sense Media. So it was a national company we pulled that from. And will you use the same link to review these recordings? All of the information that we have shared is posted on the MPS homepage. And right here where it says click here for virtual learning 2020, 2021 information, all of this information is here. And if you navigate to the teachers folder, there's Bitmoji classroom tutorials, making digital worksheets. Those are the videos from today. There's PowerSchool PD information, recording screencasts. This is a big one. If you don't necessarily go live, you can pre-record your lessons with a PowerPoint using Loom. And then here's all the Schoology information. So within the Schoology folder, you'll notice here's the link from Monday's video. Here's the link from Tuesday's. Today we'll put the one for Wednesday. We also have started a Schoology frequently asked questions. Here is the scavenger hunt and answer key. We also have a playlist of YouTube tutorials for Schoology, and we've posted state resources that are also available. Some people prefer a handout, so we have some of those also in here. There's the Getting Started on Schoology for Instructors. Here's a handout with video links also for the conferences app in Schoology. There is a video for students on that. And then here's a Schoology assessment guide and some different things here. So we do have all that posted. It is all on the MPS website on the front page in the big bold letters. That says Virtual Learning 2020, 2021. You go back to that homepage so you can see where it is. It's right here. Click here for Virtual Learning 2020, 2021 information. And also this is available on your mobile, because if you scroll on down past the important notices, it's still there. I'm able to upload things from home to there. So it's available on a phone. And somebody was asking about the grade book. We can go in and show you that, setting up your grade book. But the grades from Schoology do not feed to iNow, so it's if you enter them here, you'll also have to enter them there. All Clever questions, as far as apps being added, you probably need to put in a work order for that. Our department isn't the one who handles Clever and adding apps to Clever. We've just kind of taken on the Schoology implementation as far as that goes. We're teacher trainers. We're not the back-end tech people. So if you need apps added to Clever, you need to submit a work order so that can get done on the technical side. So your grade book. You can also go to grade setup, and that's what I'm going to go to set up those grade scales. So this is a self-paced course, and it's only a grade of 100%. So I could edit my grading periods there. I'm not going to edit the grading periods, but I can add categories. So all I have is one for unit assessment, that I could add a category of major. And how many points is it? Well, it's by percent. And we're going to hit OK. And then we're going to add minor. calculated by percentage, and create. And we're going to weight the categories. So if major is 60 and minor is 40, I can do that, and that will be updated. So that is how you can set up your gradebook to reflect. Just make sure when you do your assignments, you select the correct thing, whether it's major or minor. Okay, somebody else was also asking, how do I view the course as a student?
I was just about to say, we might need to go with student view.
So, okay, so I have saved my gradebook here. So I have saved all that. Now, I want to view this as a student. We do not have students that we can put into practice on. That's what our practice course is, and you can add other teachers as at your school as students in your sandbox course if you want. But I will say you can go to course options and you can view course as. And if I select to view course as, I can choose which student I want to view the course as. And select next. And this is how the course looks to this student. And you can navigate the materials and see what they see when they log in. So that is how you can view the course as. We don't have students we can put into practice with. Are there any other questions, Stephen, you're seeing?
I just posted a video that actually shows the student view and how they do it from their view in the chat as well.
Okay, great. Thank you, Stephen. So yeah, it's simply as far as going underneath. So I'm going to go back to course now to navigate back to my course as me. So I'm going to go back to the course. But I just went underneath my course image. I went to course options and I pulled that down and I selected view course as. I can select which student I want to view the course as. And once I highlight their name and hit next, I'm viewing the course as that student, and I can see what the student sees.
There was one question, how can the students go back and watch the video of the conferences for that day?
Okay.
That's basically, yeah, you can go ahead.
So to view a conference, now if they're here for the live, they'll go to conferences. If you're using Schoology conferences, this is how they will do it. If there's no conference scheduled, they can't join a conference. And if there are completed conferences, they will select completed. And if you recorded it, it will be here and there will be a play button. I actually have a class that has some in there, thanks to one of the teachers, I think, on this course, on this live feed. So I'm going to go on down and select and see if that course is here, because I know that we were playing around the other day and got to look at some things. So here it is. So I'm actually a student in this course, and I can select conferences. And there's no conferences scheduled at this time, but I can go to completed. And here's the test conference, and I can select to play. Now that will be there for 7 days. Is it possible to create teacher YouTube channels for pre-recorded lessons to play for students and parents? Yes, absolutely. Everyone in MPS has a YouTube account. So go in there, activate your account so you can upload videos to it. That will save so much time with the files. And I have also said with the Zoom meetings, to me, as long as you post it as unlisted in YouTube, you can do that and then post the link in your class to be reviewed later. So that may be an option. Also uploading those Zoom recordings to Google Drive. Now it does take a little while to process. That's what I was talking about. Now we talked about this yesterday. So if you take a Zoom recording, I'm going to go and show you my drive. So I'm going to go to Drive. And I'm going to go to New. And I'm going to upload. I'm going to go to File Upload. And I know all of my Zoom recordings are in my documents in a folder called Zoom. So here is one. So it's from today. It's a short little one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and select this. And I'm going to upload it. And now it's going to start uploading. And that was a very small one, so it was easy to do. I can select that Zoom video, and it says we're still processing the video. Even though it's processing, it can still be shared. So I can hit share. Right now it's restricted, so I need to change to Montgomery Public Schools can view. I can copy the link, come to my class, go to materials. And this actually is not my class. I need to go to one of my classes where I'm actually a teacher. I'm a student in that class. So let me go to courses. I'm going to go to my sandbox so that way we can show. And I want to add it. I'll just add it to my week 1 folder. Add materials. Add file, link, or external tool. Go to link. Paste in the link. And I'll say Zoom from Monday. And now I can add that here, and that link is there. Even if it's not completely uploaded into your Drive, you can go ahead and do those steps and get it there so students can view later. I see you, Vaughn Road. I'm giving you a shout out. And then somebody asked, how do I get a personal YouTube account?
I'm about to post that in right now, but you can go with it.
Okay. It's a little hard to show because I have a YouTube account. But once you get to, let me go to YouTube.
I just posted the link to the actual handout that shows you how to activate your YouTube channel and how to use it as well.
And this is exactly what we did in summer school for the enrichment. So it worked really well. So I went to YouTube. I'm logged in as me. Need to make sure that you log in with your MPS account. And then it says your channel. Well, if you don't have a channel, you will create a channel here and it will walk you through step by step. And I think Steven shared those instructions, so that way it'll be a little bit easier for you to follow along. The instructions for that are also here in this folder on the main page on how to create a YouTube channel. So if once you go to that virtual learning folder, go to teachers and select YouTube tutorials. We have one on creating a YouTube channel, uploading videos to YouTube, and even how to go live on YouTube.
And also while you're on that, I think it's important to point out that we also talk about Zoom on the MPS website as well. There was a teacher asking about Zoom. She was not given the option to record. We kind of hit on this yesterday. In Zoom, you have to make sure to set that option up before you start scheduling your Zoom meetings. So once you go to the settings and set it up to record, then you would be able to do that.
And then some people had said that can't do it if you are on a Chromebook. Well, that's where we talked about the workaround yesterday. You got to have 2 devices. So if you have a desktop computer, it does not have a webcam, it does not have a microphone. Go ahead and launch the video, launch the Zoom meeting from your desktop. Then go across the room or wherever else you need to go and start. Also join that meeting from your Chromebook. That way it'll be recorded on your desktop, but you're using the video camera on the Chromebook. So that is the workaround for that scenario until we have the license figured out. So they're working on that and processing it now.
There's a question. This may have been addressed, but what can we do if students are unable to view our course, but they are listed in Schoology on our end?
Okay, so if they're in Schoology on your end, but they're not in iNow, is that what the question was, Stephen?
They can't see the course in Schoology.
Okay, they can't see their course in Schoology, then that means they're not using their MPS Schoology account, or they are not registered for courses in iNow. One thing we have found a major issue with a lot of our students is that they created accounts on their own and joined another school, and they're still able to join with course join codes sometimes, but they're not using their MPS account. So with those students, they're not using the MPS account, and we can't actually get them logged in with the MPS account because they use their MPS email to create those different accounts. There was several schools that had a large population that had done that. What we have asked those students to do is go to the account that they created, remove their MPS email from that account completely. And once they have done that, let us know so we can add their MPS email to their MPS Schoology account. And then they will be able to log in and see their courses. That's been a major issue where people were eager beavers and jumped on and wanted to get ahead of the game, and they created accounts, or maybe their teacher last year had used Schoology. So they're using that account to log in instead of their actual MPS connected account that's connected to their courses.
I think that's pretty much the same question. I've had students who can log into Clever, but when they use Schoology, it says their username and password is not associated with MPS. That's basically some of the same. There may be an iNow issue going on with that student.
Yeah, if they're able to get in Clever and they're not able to get in Schoology, that's because their email address will not let them create an account. And if that's the case, then they have created an account on their own, or their account is associated with another Schoology account that was created outside of MPS.
We had a question about the students not being able to join the conference. That's because in conferences in Schoology, there's only 25 spots allowed for students to join. Your students will get that error if there's more than 25 or 25 joins a conference in Schoology, they would not be able to join. That's why we say go ahead and use Zoom as well. And we are hopefully supposed to be purchasing Zoom. So I would say use Zoom in that situation if you have more than 25 students.
Also, make sure they're using the Chrome browser. You may get an error message, especially if they are using the Schoology app. Conferences is not available and does not work in the Schoology app. So you have to use the Chrome browser.
That can definitely be the issue. Make sure they're doing the Chrome browser instead of any other.
And we have somebody else ask, where do you find your recordings on Zoom? When you first set up Zoom for recording, it'll ask you where do you want to save it to. Most of the time in mine, it saves to a folder called Zoom in my documents, but you would have to check your computer where you wanted to save it and make sure that you're recording those Zoom conferences. And I see you say that only 11 were on in your conferences. That's probably an issue where they were using a different browser possibly. It is a little clunky, the conferences software is, so with that, you may be better off using Zoom for some of those things. Somebody said,
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, somebody was saying a major issue with the account for those who had previous Schoology accounts. One of those students emailed and wanted me to remove them from the course. This isn't necessary, correct? No, the only way to clear that up is for them to remove the email address from their old Schoology account. That's what I have found. And there's no way for you to remove them from courses. iNow will do that automatically.
Someone says, do we use conferences in Schoology to teach whole group? You most certainly can, but just be aware of that 25 student limit. And you have to set it up for each of your courses.
I see somebody said I received an email stating that the 25 student limit in conference is misinformation. More than 25 can join. Is this true? I think we tested some of the limits Monday, and I think that we saw that many people weren't able to join if they had large number of students. So that's why we've moved to focusing on Zoom.
And of course, if you want to use Zoom, you can always schedule and create your meetings and take your Zoom link and post that Zoom link into your Schoology classroom for your students to access it when it's time to get on that Zoom meeting.
And what department contact should we direct students to troubleshoot issues like that? You need to have your school technology coordinator submit a work order. First of all, they need to check their accounts in the Active Directory, and then they will be able to make sure that they have an account, and then also will be able to put in that work order for you. I see somebody asking, is the Nearpod username and password still the same as last year? We do not have a district license for Nearpod and Vocabulary this year, but some schools have chosen to use it. So if you have chosen to use it, you still should be able to use your Google login for Nearpod and Vocabulary.
And if you're referring to mine, the answer is no.
Somebody says if the email account is removed from the other school, will that affect our school? It's not removing it from the other school. It was removing it from their, a lot of students created an account on their own in Schoology. And if they had linked their MPS email to their user created Schoology account, then that's where we're having issues with the logins.
One person says Schoology uses the Kahoot logo and advertising, but I don't see Kahoot available in Schoology apps. How can we integrate Kahoot into our lesson? And I did specify that we were going to talk about that in depth on tomorrow as well.
Yeah, we're